Since it's been a while since the last video on the 9 circles level, let's bring it back with this ball part. Wait, what the? Yeah, I'm adding a memory ball part to this level, and this is how I made it. So, we are back once again with the 9 circles level, but today will definitely be a longer episode, since I want to try to finish the entire pre-drop. So with the gameplay, I want to do like a do click pattern. You'll begin with a blue orb right here onto the first of many structures that go like this. I would split up the ball part, with the first half being pretty normal and the second half being more memory focused. It was pretty hard to playtest this because my up arrow kept double clicking for whatever reason. I guess this could be better. Yeah, that could probably be better, and then have some like long clicks. I can try to do something like this instead. I then added an orb maze and split up the previous block maze, which would be interesting to decorate. And after adding a transition out of the ball part, I would begin with the structuring for the gameplay. Actually, you know what? Like, I spent a while working on the gameplay for this cube part, but I just don't like how it's turning out. It's just doesn't fit with the theme I'm going for here. I don't really like the click pattern for this segment right here, so I'll try to like alter it to make that work better, you know? And after fixing that click pattern, I would actually begin with the structuring for the part. So yeah, to begin with, I want to have it so that like some block structures right here into some spikes. Then let's have another spike structure like up here. So yeah, that's the structuring for this part. Like, now I'm gonna begin with the decoration for the parts. So the first thing I want to do is do this structure right here, where I'll just place in the outlines like this for like a huge box, and same with like the slopes. A common pattern with the previous designs in the level is that we use some of the original objects from 9 circles. But since all of those blocks were already used, I decided to use these strange objects instead. Instead of making the glow for these structures be in front, like the blending glow, I'll try to make the blending glow be behind. So maybe I'll give that some hue variation as well. Then I'll add a third layer of glow. I can make this be copying the object color, except making it blending. 0.70 brightness. I then added some black inner outlines and a lot of more glow to the design. And then I want to give these objects right here group 2, which is the like white area tint color, just to make them light up when you get to them. Maybe I'll try to use these objects right here, make it like not as bright, but have it like a lot of hue variation. Maybe make them have a little bit more brightness, but you can't really see it as well with like the fading area tint trigger. After this, I would begin designing the slopes, which I thought would be very hard to do, but surprisingly I managed to come up with a design very quickly. But I first added even more details to the block design, which kinda made it a little bit unoptimized, but it's not really that big of a deal. So I'll begin pretty similar to what I did with the other slopes, where I'll just make these, I guess, black. Make them be black, but also B3. If you watched the showcase of my part in Everlast, you'll notice these slope outlines used a lot in the ground spikes. I used them in this level as well, and after pairing them up with some glow, they looked very cool. Then, I'm gonna add the black inner outlines. I'll copy paste this just, I guess, one down. Then I'll copy paste this one up, and yeah, do the same thing. I then began with the 3D for the normal objects. Oh yeah, shoot, I gotta add the 3D to this. So yeah, I'll just add 3D to the normal objects and not the slopes, since I'm horrible with doing 3D for slopes, especially those slopes. Okay, let's make this also be object colored, a little bit more brightness. I never try anything different with the 3D, which is a shame, as it just makes it look the same all of the time. And then maybe change the background to be like a more light bluish color. You make it so that the background fades to this over like a second. And now I think I'll work on the spike design. For the spike design, I just took the spike from the previous part and just removed some details from it. So I think that will be the block design that I'll go for with these structures. And that means that I have to do a little bit changing to the block design. So yeah, I think now I'll just fill in the block design to the rest of the structures. And then let's see what we'll do after that. And while I'm filling in all of the block design, I'll humbly ask you to please subscribe. These videos take a lot of time, so any support would be highly appreciated. I also have memberships now, so smash that join button for tons of cool perks. But let's get back to my 9 circles level again. Okay, so I filled in all of the block design now, and I really like how this is looking. Well, kind of like an asterisk on all the block design. I haven't filled in these memory blocks right here because I kind of want to do a more simpler design. But what I want to do now is I want to do something inside of here. So as you can see, there's some empty space here, here, and here. This will basically show what the solution for the memory part is. Or maybe instead of doing that, I'll use some arrows. It was kinda hard for me to explain what I was making here, but I took some inspiration from a bizarre phantasm, where it showed where you had to go before throwing you into the infamous key maze. I did something similar here, added some text referencing Limbo, and made the text have a sort of RGB effect. That looks kinda out of place here, but it's not really that bad. All of this is a group of just like 46, and 46 will just fade on as you get to this. So then I'll just do this like focus thing for the other objects as well. So there you can see you can see it like kinda well. Like I hope that you can see it well. And then I want to work on the like actual memory thing. So here it'll be like, oh yeah, some glow right here, just like this, but then half space it maybe. Then I'll add an inside to this. Now I don't want this to just be entirely black, so maybe I'll make it half brightness black, but then that's a problem. I then added some stars using these objects and made them slowly move up like a bubble column. Yeah, I like that. After that, I want to actually decorate these blocks, which I'll do something very simple for. I'll just take some of the details from the previous parts. So yeah, it's a very, very simple block, and I think I definitely gotta make it so that these objects are not above any detail. What I'll do after that, I'll just link all of this together, just like this. So now I'm copy and pasting this block throughout the entire part, and what I wanted to do to make this even more confusing is take some inspiration from the most infamous Geometry Dash memory level, Limbo. What I wanted to do is make all of these blocks rotate like the key maze in Limbo, and this is what I made. That's hilarious. Oh my god, should I keep that? Like, I can try to have it so that, like, these get spewed out of a conveyor. Yeah, that could honestly be better. I'll have it so that, like, a 48 can have, like, a sign out, or I guess sign in out. Let's see. Since the movement was too quick, I made it slower and copied the movement to the other structures but made them move up instead. But I gotta go into slow speed again to check if you like hit one of the platforms. I then made it feel more like you're actually hitting one of the blocks, which needed a lot of adjustments and tweaking. It was also very boring to do, and that's why I'm going over it in post-commentary. What I want to do now is add, like, I guess a sort of spewer that, like, spews all of these out. If I use, like, these objects, I guess. I don't want this to be, like, some cutesy, modern type stuff. Yeah, this will be, like, a white base with some gray below it. I did something similar to Jam Attack's block design in Machinal 2, but I did add some of my own details as well. I'll also scale this down. How far in should I zoom this until I can, like, comfortably warp this down? There's, like, a little overhang there, but I don't really care about that. I then added some bolts to the design and some black glow to the top of the block on T2 to, like, encapsulate all of this. So if I then take all of this, just link it together and half space it down, that could work. After that, I just tweaked some colors and added some glow to the touchable blocks and the memory parts, which wasn't that interesting, so let's skip to something else. Okay, so I've finished filling in this, like, kind of conveyor belt thingo for the rest of these parts. Now, what I want to do now is, before I, like, add some of the custom background stuff, I'll just select all of these bottom structures right here. I spent around 5 minutes on trying to add some movement to the main structures, but due to how inconsistent it made the gameplay, I just deleted it later on. And as you can tell, I'm doing a lot of post-commentary, and that's mainly because my live commentary at this point was getting very bad and strange in a way. I'll take the dots and just extend them even further. But yeah, I really like this just atmospheric glow. But yeah, I think what I'll do now is work on the ground spikes for the part. I don't really want to just, like, copy and paste the ground spike design from this part. So I guess I can then use these ground spikes right here. I've done this simple ground spike design in 3 different videos already, and I don't feel like explaining them for the 4th time, but I'll still kinda go over the process of how I made them. And so I'll just select all of this, make that also be T3, and I guess that can be blending. I can go and put some glow behind that, just to make it so that it sections off better. Yeah, I like that. There we go. The ground spike design is filled in, and the part is starting to come together pretty well. Now, the first thing I want to do is, like, just continue to try to reuse this background as much as possible. So these are all group 1. Group 1 is just for, like, 18 seconds, maybe, like, 22 seconds, like 2.2. So yeah, I also want to add, like, a background that's unique to just this part. I kind of want to just replicate the background that I used for the Supersonic remake. So maybe I'll just do that. Yeah, I can do something like this, so there's kind of like a slight line. Although that didn't really fit with the Arctic theme that I was going for, so I changed that to something more in line with that. You know what, screw all of that, like, fancy stuff. I'll just delete all of this. Add like some slopes coming out of the ground. Scale that up like a lot. And just make it so that that jumps out of the ground. And after copy and pasting it to the top and making it bob up and down, the custom background was already finished. I think with that, this entire part is finished. Yeah, I really like how this looks as well as all of the other parts. It's a little bit different as I feel like it has a little bit more of like a space theme to it. And after that, I spent a lot of time just polishing the transition from the previous parts. It wasn't that fun to watch and it wasn't that fun for me to do, so let's skip to something way more fun. One final thing to add is of course the names of the members of my channel. So my first member, Destiny, is on this structure right here. My second member, Ghost Zan, is on this structure right here. And my third member, RSD621, is on this structure right here. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and thank you especially much to the members. You guys are of course the best. But let's get on to the final showcase of the level.